Oh, hello there. Welcome to another Friday night. It's comics night. It's cool pop culture, chill stream, relaxing. We're just hanging out. If you're wondering why we were all laughing, it's because I think Andrew was saying something and I might have cut him off mid-word. I don't know.
You didn't even start as this. I just busted out laughing.
Just so you know, I was going to say something really, really bad.
What was it? Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not. That now that we're live, I'm not saying it.
Oh,
It was that bad.
Got you.
Oh.
I got you. Oh man, how are you guys?
Good.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I took the day off of work and
Oh.
slept in and tried to take a nap and ran some errands and got some crap done. And
You don't look a day under 50, bro.
I actually have scheduled videos for my channel all the way through next Thursday already done and scheduled.
Nice.
My wife needs to go out of town more often. I get crap done. Don't tell her I said that, okay?
She hits me. Don't tell her.
She'll withhold dessert from me, and I can't do that.
Oh no. Not
no.
dessert.
That's right.
So Andrew, what have you been up to in the world of comics? Drew still is on his hall pass. Yeah.
Yes. In the world of comics, not much, to be honest with you. I had gone by one of the stores today. I did accomplish something in my store today. I actually, we rearranged all the comics at one point where I mixed all the $1 and $2 comics and up together so that everything is in alphabetical order. And when I did that, some larger section of comics like the Superman section, the X-Men section is just all completely disorganized. I know. And I'm anal about that. So I actually went to the store today and I spent about an hour. I pulled every single Superman comic out of the bin and then put them in order. Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the limited series, and put them in alphabetical order and marked them and put little dividers in between them. And tomorrow I'll do X-Men. But yeah, it was a huge accomplishment for me.
It's a shame that there's multiple volumes of those characters now because they couldn't just keep publishing them properly.
Well, what's so sad is the first volume has some really amazing stuff in it. The second volume is probably the one we're most familiar with. That was Death of Superman, so forth, happened during the second volume era. Yeah. The third volume was the New 52, which everybody wants to forget about. The fourth volume was Rebirth.
The only thing good about the New 52 was didn't Keith Giffen do like the entire layouts for like the entire thing?
For 52, not the series, the New 52. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. And then Rebirth is volume 4, and then the Michael Brian Bendis version of Superman is actually volume 5.
Brian Michael Bendis, but we got you.
Brian Michael Bendis.
Did you know who I was talking about? Did you know who I was talking about?
Keanu Reeves, right?
Even if I screw up the name, you knew who I was talking about, didn't you?
I mean, I would if I was actually listening to what you were saying.
Like, what happened to Bendis? Like, he used to write like Powers and a decent Daredevil, and now,
dude, his first 2 original graphic novels, what was it, Goldfish and
Jinx.
They were so good. He wrote it and drew it. I know he wasn't like an artist, but it was awesome, dude. Like fat novels. They were so good.
And Powers was really good.
Powers was good for a while.
Yeah. His Daredevil run, pretty good. His first, but I don't know what happened to that dude.
I think he just wrote too much and stopped giving a shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I know another Batman number 703. I think Batman, lays on the train tracks. And,
for like the last, 10 years, he's been pretty awful.
Yeah, he's been pretty bad. Maybe he just burned out, dude. He wrote a ton. I mean, he must have written like.
Yeah, he wrote a bunch of stuff there for a while. Like he was
like 6 books a month or something.
Yeah, it was a lot. But,
Yeah, but I think they made a huge deal about him going over to DC, and I have not heard a single person say anything good about his time at DC.
Well, he wasn't like, I never thought he was going to be a DC writer. Like, his style was more action packed. Like, his style was more of a Marvel style to me, and always had been.
and street level is what he was good at, like the street level heroes.
Yeah, noirish stories.
Yeah, he was. Once they got him doing like superhero-y stuff, like, you know, the flashy people that can fly around, and I don't know.
Well, he did do Ultimate Spider-Man with Bagley, which there was a lot of street level talky stuff in it, but it was also very superhero-ish. There were a lot of issues where it was drag out fights, and I have to say it was probably one of his best series that he's worked on.
Spider-Man's still a street level hero.
Yeah, I won't argue with that, but yeah.
You know, he nabs a purse snatcher or two on his way to fight Green Goblin, you know?
Yeah.
Which is true.
Yeah. He would have been, he would. I mean, that stuff was good. It's just, I don't. DC for me, it's hard because I've always been more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy. So like the DC stories, I never hit me too hard. You know, I was always more into like the flashy artwork and the. You know,
I was mostly Marvel, but at DC, I did like good Batman stories, and I liked stuff that was coming out of Vertigo in the 90s. A lot of that because I either want a good solid traditional superhero, or I want something really freaking weird, you know, way outside the norm or out of the box, you know. And DC did a really good job with Vertigo for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, at the last show I went to, I picked up a whole bunch of 100 Bullets issues, and the run of 100 Bullets is obviously 100 issues. I'm probably missing maybe 10 or 11 issues for the entire run.
Okay, this is actually perfect. I know the answer to this, and so we can help. We can do an intervention. Dusty, have you ever heard of 100 Bullets?
I have not.
Andrew?
Yes.
What's 100 Bullets?
Well, the premise of the first issue was actually very, very intriguing. A guy... Where's Todd going? Is it my show now? All right, let me talk. I'm just kidding. 100 Bullets. This guy by the name of Agent Graves. He shows up. He comes to people, and just imagine the situation. And believe it or not, this would be a fantastic Netflix or HBO Plus show. Okay, he shows up to somebody and he offers them a briefcase with a gun and 100 rounds of ammunition, and he tells them, these are completely untraceable. You can do whatever you want with them. You can take revenge on somebody. You could rob somebody. You could kill somebody. You could do whatever you want with this briefcase full of ammunition and this gun. And if you ever get caught, whenever they run the ballistics or whatever, it will tell them to let you go, that you will not be prosecuted. You will not be held responsible at all. And that was the beginning of the story. And
wait a minute. Really quick. MK says DC signing off now. You are all dead to me. I'm a Marvel dude. Avery's a Marvel dude. It's this guy, the one that likes, you know, new direction.
I'm neither Marvel or DC. I've always followed artists, and I was introduced to Eduardo Rizzio with 100 Bullets. I don't think I'd ever seen him anywhere else before, and his style is so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I forgot to tell you guys this.
His Batman stuff's pretty good too.
Yeah, his Batman stuff is very noir-ish, but he's currently doing the art on that series Sergeant Rock and the Army of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I forgot to point out about that issue, and I picked up issue 2 just earlier this week, it's written by Bruce Campbell
Hey.
Oh wow,
of Evil Dead fame. Yeah,
the chin.
yeah, exactly. And art by Eduardo Rizzo, which right there. And I just picked up the second issue, and I'm looking forward to reading it.
Oh,
But
MK, dude, 100 Bullets is legit.
oh
100
yeah,
Bullets
oh
is
yeah.
amazing. I believe I gave my I have like most of the original graphic novels. I think I might have given them to Andrew to sell only because I'm buying the hardbounds.
The hardcover, yeah, because I think
Like,
there's either
they're
4 or 5
so
of the
good.
Ultimate editions. Yeah,
Yeah, they're so good, dude. It's
There's-
such a good book.
each when it originally started, it was the storylines were groups. Like the first 5 issues was a storyline. He presenting the gun to somebody, or no, maybe it was 3 issues, and then there was the next 3 issues, next 5 issues, whatever. But there was a single standalone issue that when I read it, it's there are comics, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. There are comics that just pulls at your heartstrings, that rips out your heart and your mind. You see this issue and it just tears you up. It's that much of a punch in the face. Prime example of that is if you guys remember reading Identity Crisis.
Oh sure.
It was the issue in which the bad person in the geez Louis, a scam call, heaven forbid. Hold on a second, guys.
Take it. It's okay. Just take it.
Oh, I'm gonna put on speakerphone so you can hear it.
Oh jeez.
Hello. Can you speak up? I can barely hear you.
Yeah, put it near your mic, dude.
I'm doing fantastic. What are you calling about? I can't hear a word you're saying. You know, the microphone's not picking it up very well. Why don't you call me back? Why don't you call me back in the morning? Because I can't hear a word you're saying. Oh, maybe it might help if I took my headphones out. Say again. How old am I? Freaking A, I'm ancient. I'm 67 years old. 67, yes. Yes, 67. 6, 7. Yeah, call me back in the morning. That'd be great. I'm online right now with a bunch of my friends. We're sitting around talking about old lady porn. I mean, I'm not sure if that's something you're into or not, but we really, really, really enjoy it. Granny porn, have you ever heard of it? What's my favorite color? What does that have to do with anything? What? What does my favorite color have to do with anything? We're in the middle of a discussion about whether or not redhead grannies or brunette grannies are better. Oh, now you hang up.
Yay!
Do you like the blue hairs?
I didn't even think about blue hairs.
I'm gonna start watching Andrew stream.
So Andrew has a stream where he just like shreds scam calls.
I don't do it on streams that often. They usually don't call this late at night. It's 8:15 already.
Yeah. Well, you do
That's
a live
crazy.
stream on Saturday where you talk about the scam calls.
I talk about them, but I don't actually take scam calls. But
Yeah.
Maybe you
That's
should
hilarious.
start.
Well,
Have it come through your computer.
I literally had over 30 calls today,
Oh my God.
and not all of them connected. A couple of them were just hang-ups, or most of them were just hang-ups. But a few that I connected to, fantastic calls. So, all right, I'm sorry, guys. That was really inappropriate and unprofessional. And I could bad YouTuber, YouTuber.
That was
Miles-
hysterical.
Miles says this is great. Willie D says best stream ever. And MK says he's not about the redheads.
Oh, redheads. God, love them. All right. So what were we talking? Okay, 100 Bullets. Eduardo Rizzo. I got to try to get back on
Granny
track.
porn.
Perfect.
And granny porn.
And now I'm going to think about granny porn all night long. Sorry, guys.
Oh, I haven't any. now.
100 bullets.
All right, 100 bullets. Oh, the issue. Okay, freaking A.
Yeah,
Okay.
tore your heart out.
Yeah, tore my. It's like issue number 5 or 6. I can't remember what issue number it is, but Graves goes to a little diner, right?
Yeah.
And there's a waitress who's working, and she's an older woman. I mean, probably late 40s, whatever. And she's working the counter, and she's busting her ass. And he sits down, and she comes up to him, wants to take his order, and he knows her name, and he says, "Would you mind sitting down and talking with me?" And she's like, "Really?" And she says, "It's about your daughter." And she's like, "Okay, give me a second." She goes and tells her people, I'm going to take a break. And she goes and she sits down with him. And she's like, "How do you know my daughter?" And he says, "Well, let me tell you this story." And he tells the story about how she ran away from home when she was a teenager. She got hooked on drugs and she was used and abused. And when she finally died, she was in an alley and she had lots of different diseases. And it's just the most horrible ending ever. And he hands her he hands her this briefcase. He says, "In this briefcase is a picture of the person responsible and 100% proof evidence that this is the person that was responsible. And there's a gun in here and it's got bullets in it, and it'll never be traced back to you. Do with it as you please." And he walks away. And she takes the briefcase home. And she goes into the house, and her husband's sitting there in the chair, and she comes in and says, "Did you have dinner?" And he says, "Yeah, I've already eaten. I'm just going to watch the game." And she goes, "Okay, no problem." She goes into the little girl's room, which she's, of course, not there. It's all set up. She takes out the gun. She puts the bullets in it. She walks up behind him, and she just starts shooting him to death and saying, "Since she was 6 years old," and just blowing him away. And it's like, holy yeah. The art was perfect. The story was perfect. The dialogue was perfect. And it just ripped my heart out every time I read this issue. And I've read it a couple of times because there's other stuff going on in the background. There's like a busboy that's got his girlfriend knocked up, and he's trying to decide whether or not he's going to marry her or go off to college. And there's all this other drama going on. But the issue is it's just such a punch in the face. And I have not read all 100 issues. I've read probably through the mid 60s or so. So I don't know how the series ends, but there's a lot of other background stuff that's going on. Has to do with a agency type thing with these men called the Minutemen. They're like assassins or whatever, and the government went against them and killed most of them, and they brainwashed them or something. And there's all this other stuff that's going on, but same artist, every issue, Eduardo Rizzo, written by the same person, which I'm now blanking on. Crap, what is his name? Oh my God.
Oh God, dude. It just dropped out of my head.
Azzarello?
Brian Azzarello, yes. He's the one that did the story for the Batman run.
Yeah.
That Eduardo Rizzo did. So yeah, exactly.
And what I love about 100 Bullets, I've always loved stories that use like where the focus is the trigger for the story is a common object that is between different shots. Do you know what I mean? Different scenes, like Heavy Metal the movie with that silver orb. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's the silver orb kind of landing in all these things, and that's kind of all the weird stuff happens to people who are around it.
Yeah,
I love that kind of stuff. Hey, what's up, Rageous? Welcome. So, like,
start to finish, it's a fantastic series, and the other thing that's interesting about it, Dave Johnson did all the covers.
Yeah,
he did every cover, and there's a few in there. There's a few covers that he did. And there's a lot of them that he phoned in, especially later in the series.
Oh yeah,
but there's some like issues like 28, 29, and 30 are like my all-time favorite. It has one of the main characters, Dizzy, and she's fully painted, and then the background is like a traced outline of like there's one of a car, there's one of a map or whatever, and it's just they're just gorgeous. I think he won several awards for his covers, and I know the series has won several awards, but it is by far one of the best Vertigo series, period. I put it right up there, top 5 at least.
Yep.
So, and you got to remember, there's a lot of series that were known as Vertigo series that were created before Vertigo was even created.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing, even though it was considered a Vertigo series, was created well before Vertigo. Same thing with Sandman. Sandman became part of the line, but when it started, it was not separate from the DC publishing. It wasn't its separate imprint, which is actually thoroughly fascinating in the fact that they said, okay, let's take these series that are obviously mature readers. Animal Man was another one. And let's put them underneath one umbrella and call it this. And what's her name? Karen Berger, I think, is the one that began that. Literal stroke of genius. Literal. Yeah. And when they relaunched Vertigo and freaking destroyed it with all the woke crap that they did, that was sad. Very sad.
So how would you, again, just for like Dusty's sake, like how would you define what Vertigo, or the original Vertigo was? I always kind of talk about it like it kind of started off back in the day in the 90s as like
indie comics.
It was almost like goth comics, like pre-emo, like darker gothic comics.
It was indie comics with production value.
Well, it was also their like mature reader line. And I hate to say it, but when it started, there wasn't a focus on art. It was more of a focus on story.
True.
Art became more prevalent, but at the beginning, there are some of those early Sandman issues that no matter how good the story is, I can't read them because the art's so bad. There's some issues. And now I look back at some of those early issues with Sam Keith's art, and I'm fascinated. Like, I have a copy of Sandman #2. Gorgeous stuff. But back in the day when we were kids, I would have looked at that and go, what the hell is this? And ignored it completely.
It was a lot of those things like the Dave McKean covers that helped those books.
Well, even Dave McKean didn't do anything for me back then, See, it wasn't until much later. It wasn't until much later.
It did for me. But also you had stuff like, Duncan Fagredo doing like Shade the Changing Man's covers.
Chris Bacalo's stuff on that early on. That was some
I liked it at the time.
It was different. It was definitely different. I've actually gone back and read like the first couple issues of Shade the Changing Man, not knowing anything about the title and the relaunch, the Vertigo relaunch that they did. That was a totally different character from what Ditko created or did back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was very, I don't want to say mature as a negative, but it definitely was not for me.
Yeah. I used to read, I don't remember a whole lot, but I used to read Shade the Changing Man back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Sean Phillips did art on it.
High Cost of Living?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good book.
Dude, is this the High Cost of Living or is this the first one?
I don't know.
Is High Cost of Living the first? Yeah, it's the High Cost of Living, yeah.
Yeah, High Cost of Living was the first one, then Time of Your Life was the second one.
Yeah, that's Death in the DC universe.
Yeah, so good, dude. Chris Bacalo was such a good artist.
Yeah, but
the
truth of that, how much of that was actually Mark Buckingham?
Probably a lot.
Because Mark Buckingham has gone on to do his own thing, and I don't want to say a better artist.
He's a better artist. Yeah.
He definitely controlled what Chris Bacalo was penciling. He was controlled it a lot better.
Scott Williams for Bacalo.
Yes. Granted, Bacalo by himself is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Williams, Jim Lee by himself is fantastic, but the two of them together, they complemented each other.
There was I was looking at? There was an issue. It was like McFarlane had Williams Ingham or was it Larson? I can't remember. One of the other Image guys, and I think it was during the X-Men. Like they were still all doing the Marvel stuff, but they had Scott Williams inked him. Maybe it was Liefeld. I don't remember, but like made their work like so freaking good. Like it was so obviously, and they're like, oh yeah, no, Jim Lee is phenomenal, but Scott Williams kind of the.
Do you remember that X Factor cover in which Rob Liefeld drew the cover and then McFarlane inked it?
Oh, those were my favorite. Those were my all-time
Yeah.
favorite. I liked.
McFarlane actually made Rob Liefeld freaking better.
I actually thought it made Rob Liefeld look better too. Like those covers, like the cable cover and all that kind of stuff. Like those were when I saw that. Those were the covers that I stared at the most. Was the Rob Liefeld drawn but McFarlane inked, because it was like they played off each other somehow.
If I had to ask you a question, which artist in their own right, an artist by themselves, makes everything they ink better?
Everything they ink?
Everything they ink. As an artist themselves, they're fantastic, but when they do inks on anybody, they make it better.
Even on themselves.
No,
a lot of artists that ink themselves are just like artists.
Well, I only have one in mind who by himself, he's a fantastic artist, but when he inks somebody, he turns it into his.
Well,
but
you're thinking Kevin Nolan.
Kevin Nolan.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I
already said that, but I was muted.
Oh.
As he was talking, I was like, Kevin Nolan.
Do you remember meeting Jimmy Palmiotti that one time, and we were talking about how much we loved Joe Quesada on Sword of Azrael, and he looked at us and said, "Oh, that's all Kevin Nolan."
Yeah.
That's Kevin Nolan making
Nolan.
Joe Quesada look awesome.
It really was.
It was. There was a book I just got. It's in one of the ones I took into the store. It was a double-sized square bound Superman one, where it was drawn by John Buscema and inked by Kevin Nolan.
Is this the one you guys are talking about?
One of them, yeah.
Yep, that's the Rob Liefeld McFarlane.
Look for the New Mutants cover with Cable and the Blob.
That would be let's see. Cable's first appearance was 87, so that'd be 88.
Cable and the Blob?
Yeah.
The Blob.
Pretty sure it's that's it.
Oh yeah.
Didn't
Just
I
go
say
to
88?
eBay. Yeah.
I think I sold all those issues.
You have to Google it.
I wish I still had them.
Anybody want to buy this? It's only $25.
Yeah, no. Go to images. Go to images. There you go. Oh, you're muted, bud.
It's Friday. I'm tired.
It's fine. It's fine. I damn
first appearance. That's the first appearance of Deadpool. I used to have that book.
There it is. Oh, look at the black and white. Click on the comics, the Heritage Auction one. Yeah. Holy shit.
Oh wow.
Click on that. Oh god, I could probably find. I could look at it. It's okay. See how detailed that is.
It looks super detailed.
Right? Like McFarlane made Liefeld's drawings really freaking good.
I mean, but it's still Liefeld. I mean, look at those fingers, Blob's fingers, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it worked. It's like McFarlane. It's like, it just works. This is, to me, was like the ultimate style. You know what I mean? I was like, it's Liefeld body shapes.
We all tried to copy it.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't understand. And it took me a while to understand, like, how this was drawn. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this one guy drew it, this other guy inked it, and it took me a while before I could tell the style difference, like what made it interesting. You know what I mean? Because if you don't know the artist's styles, it just looks like an art image. You know?
All right, I got a question for you. A lot of us, when we started drawing, we traced other artists' work. I will freely admit, I traced Rob Liefeld, I traced Art Adams. You know, I didn't do Jim Lee that much, but I like to trace the stuff in the Marvel handbook, the official Marvel handbook. I love the full poses, and also I traced a lot of those. In the recent issue of Batman: The White Knight, each issue, Sean Gordon Murphy does like a little interview in the back, and the question that he tackles this time is, how did you develop your drawing style? He lists out some of the influences of him early on, And of course, he traced, other artists. What do you guys think he started with?
I don't know.
Who the artist he started with?
Mm-hmm. Or titles he started with.
Titles. Well, I'm gonna guess has nothing to do with what he does now. So I'm gonna guess. I mean, I want to say New Mutants.
Now, let me preface this by saying he's about our age.
Yeah, I would say
it's probably the same stuff.
Yeah, X-Force maybe. That's my guess.
No.
Amazing Spider-Man, the Larson Spider-Man.
Guys are going in the opposite direction. Like everyone who wants to draw comics, I started out copying all my favorite imagery. When I was really young, I used to trace He-Man figures and color them. A few years later, I bought my first comic, Marvel Action Universe #1, and traced all the images of Spider-Man. Okay. From there, I started drawing G.I. Joe, Thundercats, and Silverhawks.
Nice.
While referencing the book, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. But things changed completely when I discovered Jim Lee.
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating? He's literally
awesome.
that's
our story.
It's very much our beginning as well. So
yeah. What is it? Yeah. Neil Adams said, if you're not improving at your drawings because you're not tracing enough.
That's right.
Yeah. Ray just says, what's nuts is in so many of these my brothers and I hadn't read.
Yeah.
Fought over who owns what and ultimately threw out. My younger brother has a couple of rooms worth of comics now. That's because he took all yours. He's like, yeah, I threw them out. Oh, this room full of comics? I knew. Totally just bought it.
I need to find my first appearance at Gambit and maybe get it graded.
Yeah. Did I tell you guys the story about the guy that brought that into the store? Okay. So a guy brings in a stack of comics, and he literally hands me a stack of comics. And I look through it, and there's a couple of decent issues in there. There's some junk. There's some early image stuff that, you find in every 50-cent bin. But then there was a copy of X-Men 266 or 268, whichever one's the first Gambit, right? And I know it's valuable. I didn't know what the current value was, but I knew at least $100, maybe a little bit more, right? So I said to the guy, so what are you looking to get? And he's like, well, I'm not sure. What you offer? And now the rule is, and everybody out there has to realize this, that when you're offering a collection to somebody, they're going to immediately put a price in their mind, and then they're going to immediately lower it. And if you say, okay, if you think $100 and you say, okay, I'll offer him 75. And then if he says, how about 100? You're like, okay, well, that was my original thing to begin with. So that's, I'll reluctantly go up to 100, even though 100 is what I originally thought. Right. So that's just the way the game's played. It's normal. And so I thought to myself, how much do I have on me in cash? I gotta keep that in mind. It also depends on what day it is, what time of day it is. If it's Sunday and the day's almost over, there's not going to be a lot of sales. So whatever money I've got on hand is what I get to play with. If it's Saturday, first thing in the morning, I haven't made any sales whatsoever, and all I've got is change on me. I'm not going to give away all my change before the day even starts. So I forgot what day it was, but it really didn't matter. So I looked at him and I said, well, I'll offer you $50. And he's like, oh, man, there's the first appearance of Gambit in there. And I'm like, okay, so this guy knows what he's got. He's just fucking with me, okay? And I said, well, yeah, and it's worth a pretty penny. The rest of the stuff, there's not a lot of stuff in here that I need. I mean, there was a couple Deadpool issues in there I was willing to play around with, but I definitely wanted the X-Men. And I said, well, what are you looking for? And he wouldn't give me a price. And I said, well, I've got to deal with what I've got on hand, and I've got 50 I can spend right now. And he says, well, what about, and he pulls out like Union #1 and Shadowhawk #1. Says, how about, and he gives me like all the images. Says, how about $50 for this? And I'm like, no way. That's 50-cent books. There's no way. And I'm like, now he thinks I'm a chump. And I'm like, he ended up leaving, and I wasn't upset. And then I looked up a 9.4 ungraded of that book is $350 right now. So granted, I really lowballed him, But I really, if you're going to screw around and not be honest, especially if you know something in there is worth something, be honest and tell me what you're looking for. Now, if he had come back and said 200 for the whole stack, I might have found a way to do it. Mm-hmm. But even after making him the initial offer, he hemmed and hawed, and I'm like, I'm not going to play with you. Sorry.
Yeah. MK says, ignorant question. Is that seriously the best way, tracing?
Oh, absolutely.
It's one of the ways. Yeah. You got to, tracing.
That's how I got my first job. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Tracing will help you learn. Inking will help you learn. Life drawing from reference will help you learn. I
would say that one of the reasons, like actually Ray just says it is a little bit different, but Ray just says tracing creates muscle memory, value when learning.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that when you're starting to draw, I mean, especially something like comics to me is always one of the reasons I was attracted to it is because it's literally the hardest thing you could ever fucking do. Like, you have to be able to draw everything from every single position in every which way, no matter and whether it's real or imagined. And you have to be able to understand spacing, storytelling, writing, pacing, emotion, everything. You have to know everything. Light, shadow, volume. Like, it's the ultimate craft in drawing. There is nothing more hard than trying to draw a comic book. It's one of my. And that's why the masters are like the best on the planet. Like, you can't touch them. And so, like, because nobody can do it. Like, it's a really hard skill. So the thing that tracing does is, like, when you first start drawing, if you just sit down and you just start trying to draw something from your head, it's damn near impossible. It's like a stick figure, or it's kind of like a wobbly blob. And then you look at something and you try to draw it, and you might try to draw some of it, but the proportions are all off because you don't know how to control proportion. You don't really understand distance and depth. And so when you start by tracing, you actually get the feel for how the line was put down and why the leg is shaped the way it is. And you do start to develop kind of like a muscle memory for, like, okay, the leg goes this way, or an arm goes this way, or a hand coming at you like this is like this, or like this, or like this. Like, you can start to kind of see how the pieces kind of go together. And then usually the next step is, and this happens to pretty much everybody, is like you just mimic a style, because you start tracing enough to where you're kind of good at tracing, and you usually kind of gravitate to one or two artists, and then you just kind of ape the style so that you can kind of know where the lines fall, right? It's like a comfort, and then people start to kind of usually spread out.
Can you guys think of an artist who, when you first saw them, you really liked their stuff, but you could not tell who their influences were, that they were completely, in your mind, original?
Oh yeah. Well, it depends. Yes, but it depends on, like, when you ask me this, right? Because
I'm always thinking
when we were younger, it was like, I mean, Russell Feld, Jim Lee.
Yeah, when you first discovered,
it was all original. Like, I was like, I've never seen anything like this before in my life.
Yeah, when I first discovered people like Bill Sienkiewicz and Kent Williams, it was mind blowing. I was like, where does this come from? How can a comic book look like this?
Yeah.
And then you get into fine art and you learn where their influences are and how Bill Sienkiewicz's style evolved from Neil Adams, and then it started incorporating classic illustration and fine art, and abstract art into his imagery. And then you learn Kent Williams, and you go back to like Egon Schiele and Gustav Klimt. You go, oh, and other figure painters. You go, oh, okay, I get it now. But when I first started seeing those kind of books, like by like Dave McKean, Kent Williams, Bill Sienkiewicz, other people, it blew my mind that a comic book could look like this. I did not know.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away that they could be like these fully painted masterpieces.
Yeah. How many times did you find an artist that you like fell in love with them and then found out that they were influenced by somebody else who you didn't even realize?
Oh yeah.
Like Art Adams. I absolutely loved Art Adams. Had no idea he was taking Michael Golden's style and making it into his own. A lot of people don't realize J. Scott Campbell started out as an Art Adams clone, who started out as a Mike Mignola clone. I mean, not Mike Mignola, Michael Golden.
Golden.
Yeah.
But the one artist I was thinking of, who when I first saw their style, thought it was completely original and something new, was Adam Polina. Do you remember him when he started out? I'd never seen anything like his stuff.
Yeah,
even
his
though
stuff was
I loved
really. I
how
didn't
dynamic
necessarily
it was.
like it, but it was really different.
Oh, I liked it because of how dynamic it was. His later stuff, kind of weak, but when he first came out, when he first became noticeable by us, it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. You know.
MK says, "Awesome answer, thank you. So encouraging. So encouraging tracing on Procreate for my daughter. A recommendation to grow? Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
What did you? So what did you guys? So Dusty, I'm gonna toss Dusty to the wolves here. Not really.
Uh-oh.
Like what? So
take off your glasses and we'll go. Where'd he go?
Just don't try to shuffle, Andrew. We'll be good.
I'm working on it. I've got some moves I'm starting.
So Dusty, like what do you? I mean, you're kind of a little bit of a comics newbie, right? Fair
Complete comics newbie. Yes.
What are some of like your questions, or like is there any curiosity you have about that? I mean, because we're talking like hardcore inside baseball.
Well, one thing I will say is I am amazed how you guys mentioned so many different artists and you all know who it is. Like that,
Yeah.
It's confusing to me how you can keep that much track of everything and look at an image and be like, oh yeah, this artist drew that.
Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well,
it's amazing. It's amazing how deep your knowledge can get when you refuse to go on dates until you're like 35.
Well, I got you.
Virginity has its perks.
Gives you time to read a lot more comics. There you go.
Yeah.
Intellect level 100.
What I was saying before is I was never a Marvel or DC guy. I followed specific artists. There were artists that and it didn't matter whether they were drawing Batman, Superman, or something else. I followed the artist. And a lot of us were that way. I do have a favorite character, but it wasn't one of those things where I had to buy every single issue that character was in. But there were specific artists that when they drew that character, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, Terry Dodson penciled a Batgirl story inked by Kevin Nolan. Hands down. Fantastic story.
Yeah, I did that with like Lee Weeks and Sienkiewicz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's another inker that takes over.
Yeah. Bill Sienkiewicz.
Well, his John Buscema Wolverine. Like I love it and I hate it because I love John Buscema's clean lines, but when he inked it, I was like, "That's pretty awesome."
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Yeah.
Well,
what about that issue of X-Men? It's a Jim Lee cover, inked by Bill Sienkiewicz. The interior is Rick Leonardi, inked by Kent Williams.
Yeah.
That
opening splash page. You're like, holy crap, you know?
Dude, that's a crazy issue.
It is.
What, really quick, I'll give you guys a good question. What is your favorite comic cover? Is there a cover that you're just like
favorite comic cover?
Mine's nostalgic. It's the X-Men Annual with Storm, Art Adams, Storm holding Thor's hammer. It was the Asgardian War Annual. I think it's 9. That is probably my all-time favorite cover, only because that was my first superhero comic. Mm-hmm. I was G.I. Joe and Transformer hardcore until all of a sudden I went to the base and the Navy Exchange, and I already had gotten all the G.I. Joe and Transformers that they had on the stand. So my dad said, if you want something, pick something. So I picked the most expensive comic that was on the stand, which was the X-Men Annual. It was like $125, and it was that issue. And holy freaking crap, that was my introduction to Art Adams, and that was just gorgeous. And I mark that as the issue that made me want to draw comics. Mm-hmm. Reading that and not understanding any of who the people were or any of their powers or any of the storyline, just looking at that art from Art Adams, hands down, that's the comic that made me want to be an artist and draw comics.
Just out of curiosity, Avery, what's yours? I know we probably have more than one, but
Yeah, I have more than one. And one of them isn't even by one of my favorite artists. He's one of my top artists. I love him. And I love this era of his stuff. But and maybe it's because the only copy I've ever had of the book is a shitty reader copy. It's in bad shape. But it's the Incredible Hulk McFarlane with Wolverine and the Hulk and the reflection of his walls.
That does
Classic.
Well, that's a classic cover.
Yep.
Hold on, I gotta
I love
show
it.
People don't know it. Yeah, that's probably $1 million cover too.
I've only ever had like this really shitty beat up version of it, reader copy.
I don't think I've ever owned a copy of that issue.
It was always hard to get, man. That thing was always hard to get.
But yeah, I love that cover. I even did an homage piece to it once.
I think we all have at one point.
Yeah.
Here, hold on.
I just love it.
Check this out.
I remember my version had a Ghost Rider in the claws.
He just knew how to create such hype with his work. Look at that.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and now that you look at it, it was so simple,
Yeah.
There's no background. There's no, there's not a lot of, there's emotion, but there's not action.
And it's such a copied image.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what I think what the article is like, it's like, look, it's a classic cover. Everyone's like copying the shit out of it. Like, look at that. It's just such a good cover. It's just because you know exactly what's happening. It's super simple, but you know exactly. Like you are standing in between Wolverine and the Hulk.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what's happening. You are literally standing right in between Wolverine and the Hulk, and he's basically screaming out at you to get the hell out of the way.
There's a few covers in comics history that when you realize what the cover actually is showing you, there's a shocking revelation. There's a moment where you go, holy crap. And like, this is one where you're literally standing in between Wolverine and the Hulk. Another one is the cover to The Killing Joke.
Oh yeah.
In which it's the Joker holding up the camera. Once you realize that that's the part where the Joker is taking pictures of a beaten and bloodied and shot Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. That's him at his most heinous in the entire story, is when he's taking pictures of her after he shot her, and that's the cover. You're like, oh my god, that's the scene. It's not him kicking in the door and shooting her; it's the torment afterwards.
Yeah.
So,
and
this is one of my favorite covers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
And this is on sale now at auction.
Oh, Bisley Terminator.
Yeah. Nice. Actually, I'm kind of preferential to the ones from the original limited series from Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Chris Warner did the art on those. Actually, I have all 4 of those issues put aside for you. So yeah.
I still to this day don't understand how he painted this. I mean, I do, like, I get it now, but like.
Oh yeah, the airbrush and the spray paint and the layers.
Yeah, it's just so seriously painted. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I stared at this cover so much, and just like how the hell did he paint this? Like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look like any type of paint style I'd ever seen before.
It's thin layers of airbrush and acrylic.
Yeah, it's just so good. This is just him at his peak, man. I mean, he was like in his 20s, right?
Yeah.
Fucking crushing it. Look at that shit.
Batman Judge Dredd. That whole issue.
Oh yeah, Batman Judge Dredd was classic.
Oh
too.
yeah.
Slane's
classic. Yeah, those whole runs, man, you couldn't beat it. Like,
and they don't produce comics like that anymore, those painted books, because it's so expensive. You got to pay one dude $1,000, $2,000 a page and give them 3 or 4 days to a week per page.
Todd, do you remember at that one New York Comic Con where they had the original pages. Like I think it was maybe 1 or 2 pages from Bernie Wrightson's Spider-Man Hooky graphic novel, where it was fully painted, colored. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of what coloring job it was done, but it was fully painted. And oh my gosh, that was amazing. That was freaking amazing.
Hey, check this out. I'm not going to go through all of the all of the auction stuff tonight, but you want to see what's going up for sale. And this, so
Sure.
we're coming up to the end of the year, and now it's time for the super incredible, like the comic pages you wish you could buy, the signature stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The ones where you're like, oh fuck, you know. MK says that Killing Joke is one of his faves. Yeah, it really is good. Check this out. You're gonna sometimes, dude. Like, I swear to God, this is one of the things that motivates me more than anything to like keep pushing forward, because I'm like, well, I want to own this. Like, oh
shit!
Wow!
Right? Come on. Why is this on sale now? Don't put it on sale now. Give me like a couple of years. Just give me a little time.
Oh, it'll be up for resale eventually. You'll pay twice as much,
and it'll be like 300 times as much. Yeah.
Well.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's gonna cost a couple $100,000.
Yeah, it's already like this. It's already at 52,000, and it's like 20 days out. So this is gonna go for a pretty penny.
Wow, very nice.
There's a lot of good stuff coming up. There's I'll show you one more.
Powerball's up to 800 million, man. Only takes one ticket. I swear to God, if I win the lottery, I'm opening a gallery and I'm buying as much art as I can. And I'm gonna fill that sucker with some amazing artwork.
X-Men #5.
Yep.
Yeah, what I remember that lottery that got up to like $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody made a meme. Congratulations to the IRS for winning the lottery, because they took like 60%.
Yep.
The guy won the person won like $1 billion, but they got less than half.
Hey, 400 million is still a nice chunk of change.
Oh, know? Yeah. Oh, I could never spend it all.
I could.
I couldn't, because I mean, eventually I'd just run out of.
I know. Well,
I'm gonna things to buy.
You know,
you could just build a house out of living women.
You know what's so funny is I buy tickets all the time, and I keep forgetting to check my numbers.
It felt like it was going to be funny, but I was committed.
I need to check my numbers. You know, I might just be a multimillionaire. Well, maybe not.
I know if I win the lottery, like the ATF is going to show up at my door. Like, what the?
KG is like, what? Hey, they all can't be singers, man. Oh, it's Friday. Andrew, why don't you share? You want to go through some of have you looked at the new comic shit that's out, like the new stuff that's hot this week?
Oh, well, actually, I did look at it earlier, and there was one on there that kind of shocked me. But yeah, you want me to share?
Yeah,
share.
Let me get there.
Share.
Stars.
Resident Evil joke.
All right.
KG says he's still rapping. Wait.
Of living women.
Look, there it is. I'm still wrapping my head around a house made out of living women.
Todd comes up with interesting jokes from time to time. They don't know.
Yeah. It's like that scene in Jeep. It's like that scene in Jeepers Creepers, but they're all still alive.
What? I mean, you know, adult fantasy, man. Come on.
No, it's not that kind of adult fantasy. Stop.
Todd, you're damaging your own brand with that kind of
I
humor,
know.
man.
Yeah, I don't think
It's like you. Oh boy.
All right. So what this is comic. Okay, sorry. Go ahead and read the comment.
I was just gonna say the nemesis over here sharing.
Okay.
Go
This
for it.
is comicpriceguide.com. They do a hot list, things to watch, and a lot of these you could probably recognize why they're hot. Like you've got Shazam and you've got Captain Marvel and Black Adam images in here, so that it has to do with the movies.
Mhm.
This one kind of shocked me. Geiger #1. This is the whatchamacallit, Gary Frank art, Jeff Johns issue. I know I've got a copy of this somewhere, but it's currently valued at $15, a 9.4 ungraded.
Why?
Which I don't know. Well, I know it went into 4 different prints, but I don't know if there's like rumors of it being optioned for something.
Maybe.
That's usually when things go up in value, but
Yeah,
I hadn't heard anything. So
could be.
yeah, well. Next up, and this is valuable for the dumbest reason. Poison Ivy #4. It's the Zoe Thorogood variant issue, printed as the Sozo variant based on the UPC. So it's a $20 book based on the fact the UPC has the wrong code on it.
Oh,
That's so stupid.
Yeah.
sometimes things like that happen. It happens to toys too, where they'll misprint something on the package in a small batch of them, and they still go out. That's the one that'll be worth something.
The thing is, I hadn't heard, had this issue been recalled because of that? I mean, that's when things usually go up in value, is when they're recalled.
If there's a small batch of them, they can go up.
I think sometimes they do it on purpose just to get newsworthy,
Maybe.
coverage of it or whatever. Now here's an interesting one: The Incredible Hulk number 156, Volume 2 from 1972. It's the first appearance of Krylar and the first Smart Hulk. I don't think I've ever seen this cover before. It's Hulk versus Hulk at the heart of the atom. You look like Hulk, but I am Hulk. I am. No, we're both the Hulk. But at last, I've got Bruce Banner's brain, and if one of us has to die, it won't be me.
It won't be me.
It won't be me.
Look
Now,
at those hands. I love it. Like those blocky hands.
It's guided a 9.4 ungraded at $137. So
Nice.
okay, yeah. Next up is DC Comics Presents number 33. It appears to be just a Superman and Shazam appearance. It's currently valued at $15. I have a bunch of DC Comics Presents. I don't know if I have this issue. It doesn't look familiar, but $15. That's not a bad, investment. Have you guys heard about the? Can we? Okay, spoilers. Anybody who hasn't seen Black Adam yet? All right, we're gonna count to 3, and then we're gonna start talking about it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's an extra scene at the end of the movie in which Superman Henry Cavill shows up. Cavill, whatever, and that's it.
No way.
He shows up and he tells Black Adam, "We need to
Kay
talk."
says no spoilers.
Hey, I warned you. But that's
was
probably the reason why this issue and issues like this are going up.
because they think Henry Cavill is Superman?
No, Henry Cavill, Superman teaming up or confronting Black Adam.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
That could be a cool thing. And Shazam is in the Black Adam family, so whatever.
Yeah, why wouldn't they put the Shazam dude at the end?
Well, he's got a movie coming out, so we'll have to see what happens at the end of his movie.
MK says like Google didn't spoil that day of release.
Well, Henry Cavill sent out a tweet after the weekend, said, "Okay, it's been plenty of time. I'm in the movie, and I'm glad to be back as Superman." So
yes.
All right, so check this out: Adventures of Super Mario Brothers #1 from February 1991, published by Valiant. Valiant actually did some Nintendo video
Who-
game
Who
comic.
would ever think this type of thing would be worth anything? Because usually these are
Yeah.
throwaway comics, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is exactly why it's worth something, because everyone threw it away except
That's
for like,
right.
the
A
one
9.4 ungraded is $100 book right now.
That's
Crazy.
wild.
It
That's
is.
the kind of thing I would have paid no attention to.
Yep.
And it's not that I hate Mario. It's just I bought my comics for like superhero stories or weird alternative stories. You know, I wasn't like looking to expand my Nintendo horizons that way.
Yep. This is Shazam number 8 from.
Sorry, I just jumped in. MK says same with Smart Hulk. Everything they do in the movie is now being searched.
You know what I think is funny is the first appearance or appearances of Scar are not on this list.
Mm.
The Hulk's son, who, because I don't think anybody gives a rat's ass about She-Hulk anymore. But
no, and
I'm
MK
surprised that
MK just said that Universal just finished the Mario Land, which might be why the book is.
Plus, there's a movie coming out. There's a Super Mario Brothers movie coming out.
Yeah.
So this is Shazam number 8, reprints Black Adam's first appearance from the Marvel Family number 1, December 1945. This was published in 1973, and it's a $100 book. That's kind of cool.
That's cool.
So,
the original Captain Marvel.
Shazam number 25.
Why is that
appearance of Isis? Or Isis?
ISIS?
ISIS? Is?
ISIS.
Is that ISIS? Okay.
Yeah, ISIS. That's how ISIS is spelled.
Yeah, like the terrorist group.
Yeah. It's a $50 book right now. So that's good. That's good. Let's see. We have this one is dumb. This is Avengers X-Men number 1. This is the free comic book day edition. It's the first appearance of Bloodline Blade's daughter. It's currently a $5 book that was given away for free. And from what I understand, a whole bunch of people grabbed these issues, and hey, more power to them. Supposedly she's getting her own series next year, but her introduction in this comic was pretty damn dumb. So
I like how all the superheroes have kids now. It makes a lot of sense. MK says Black Adam's girl, yeah. And then he said it will be give phase 4 more time, MODOK will be searched. Yeah. Well, MODOK had a little show, right? They had a MODOK show.
That's right, they did.
What? Yeah, I'm dying to know why. What's the deal with that Liefeld?
We're getting there. We're getting there. Hold on.
Okay, all right.
Spider-Woman number 6, Werewolf by Night appearance, bondage cover. This is a $20 cover. I mean, Spider-Woman in bondage? I mean, what more do you want? Oh, yeah. Werewolf by Night. Has anybody, by the way, seen that Werewolf by Night special? I still haven't seen it.
Looks awesome. I haven't seen it. But it looks awesome.
Okay. I guess we can comment on it next week once we've all seen it.
Is it out yet?
Yeah, supposedly it was supposed to be out before Halloween, so.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm not going to watch it.
Swamp Thing number 2, volume 2. Yeah. First appearance of Justice League Dark. This is a $70 book right now. And this was, once again, before Vertigo. So
I would want that book just because of what it,
I like that. Sophisticated Suspense. 1985.
The older I get,
Alan Moore and Steve Passett.
Yeah, the older I get, the more I like these.
Yeah, I've read some of those Swamp Things. I have the trades of some of them. It's really good.
MK says Werewolf by Night is great, and then says.
Now, is he talking about the show or the comic?
Probably the comic. He says Free Comic Day is one of our faves. Daughter dresses up. We hit local Yancey Street Comics.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to look at Wolverine number 154, volume 2 from September 2000. Okay, before I click on this, other than the fact it's got a Rob Liefeld cover, what do you think is the reason why it's on this list?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember if there's any.
It's got another Weapon X variant character.
Well, it looks like it might have Deadpool on it.
He was creating characters all the time, so who knows, man?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's got to be somebody's first appearance. That's got to be the reason it is. But let's take a look. Nope. Deadpool
Wow.
Rob Liefeld art.
Oh, direct
That was
edition?
the only reason. Yep. $27, and it's just because it has a Rob Liefeld cover with Deadpool on it.
Jeez.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, I guess with the Deadpool 3 announcement that Wolverine's going to be in it, anything with Wolverine and Deadpool, of course,
Together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This actually the next issue that's on this list, Wolverine 88, was like one of their first battles. First Wolverine Deadpool fight deluxe edition. This is currently a $150 book with the Adam Kubert cover. And I'm fairly certain I've had that in the past because I remember seeing it. But
I had stopped buying Wolverine by then.
Yeah.
So, but if I had it, I would definitely sell it because I don't have a strong attachment to that era.
Yeah.
Oh,
$150 though. Crazy.
MK says the Werewolf by Night, the show was excellent.
Okay.
Totally out of character for usual MCU. Watch it.
Okay. Well, it's on my list. It's on my list.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
But these are all the hot list. And like I said, most of the time you can tell why it's on this list. It usually has to do with TV shows or movies or somebody or rumors of something happening. But it's always interesting to check it out to see what people are going to be looking for. Because usually whenever this gets updated, I'll have people coming in the store, speculator type people coming in the store looking like somebody's coming in tomorrow looking for Geiger #1. It'll definitely happen. So, But you never know. Always like to check it out. And I always like to look and see what the recent price changes are, recent value changes are. Oh, wow. Unity #0 is now worth $3 instead of $2. Turok the Dinosaur Hunter went down. Oh, no.
How'd that happen? That's a great book.
I don't know. But the
gold, cover.
The gold logo edition.
Yeah, that's the cover.
Yeah.
It's like chromium.
Well, it's chromium. Well, this image here is chromium, not the whole cover, but this is the gold limited edition version.
Oh, the gold, the box.
Yeah, I actually have a copy in the store right now, signed by Bart Sears and the inker.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh, MK says, I guess it's to Andrew. Do you make a good margin when that happens, or it just gets people in the door?
Oh, you mean when people are looking for certain stuff? A lot of the way I have stuff priced in my store is I price stuff based on what the value is and what I actually paid for it. If I paid 50 cents for it and it's a $10 book, I could easily put it at $2-3 and still make money. So I'm pretty modest when it comes to the prices I put on stuff, but I have prices on almost every single thing in the store where even if I took a little bit off or gave a discount, 20% off, I'm still going to make money. I'll still make money off it. So I recently, Avery, you remember I told you about the guy who had bought a storage unit and he had a whole bunch of boxes of comics?
Yeah.
I went over there and I made him an offer and he turned me down because it wasn't enough for him. And I said, no problem. Then he rented a unit and started selling everything in the comic boxes 2 for $1. And I went and I probably bought, actually, I know exactly how much I bought because I keep track of this to the penny, about $380 worth of comics. Okay. So 600-700 comics. I've already made back the money plus some, and I still have 500 issues left. So I still have plenty of profit left to be made. And the sad part is the guy still has boxes in his unit of stuff that nobody is ever going to buy, like these Time Walker Valiant issues. He's got a whole bunch of those.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's ever going to buy those. It's just not going to happen. And
Dude,
I feel bad for the guy. No. But yeah, that's the thing. So
it's like it's having a stockpile of Quantum and Woody.
Well, I was going to say some of the early issues are good, but no,
it's like having a stockpile of plasm.
He does have plasm issues in there. Yes. Yeah.
You know what he's got? Convergence.
I've got those. Damn it.
He says, nice work, Drew.
No problem. No problem. Well, see, the funny thing is that I went through and bought stuff that I knew would sell. And then I went back and bought some more stuff. Then I went back, and there's always something hidden in there that you don't realize it's in there. And ended up being the collection that the guy had gotten. The guy that it was his collection was really into the bad girl comics. He had some adult comics. He had a lot of stuff like that, but he also had a lot of variant issues, and he had a lot of signed editions. So, no, he didn't have Bondage Fairies, but he did have La Blue Girl. So, I mean, I have one of those issues. I bought it. It's in the store.
Under your mattress?
No, it's in the store.
Is that in the van next to the candy?
Don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh, you know what? Straight up though, we're making fun of Andrew. Every damn day. Every person I know that actually owns La Blue Girl and Bondage Fairies comics is a girl.
Yes, I know exactly some of the people you're talking about, and yeah.
Like all the people I know that actually like hentai and like the nastiest shit imaginable, all girls. It's insane.
Yeah, well,
I'm trying not to add to this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That would be wise. That would be wise.
So Walter Simonson and X Factor, huh?
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, Todd, go ahead and show us your collection of Bondage Fairies. We're waiting. We know you got them. They're on the bookshelf somewhere. Actually, we can see them right now.
Most of the people I know, except for Todd.
You know what? You Avery, you want to know why he doesn't want to go grab them off the bookshelf and show them to us?
I don't have them. What are you talking about?
Because they're all stuck together.
And that's all, folks. Have a beautiful night.
That's good stuff.
Yep, that's what he said.
Oh man.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, it's got the hold on. I gotta get a better version of this meme, but I think it applies. This is when you know you've hit it. We've hit it good. It's
You have definitely lost control. Definitely lost control.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question off subject. Let's talk about lore games for just a minute.
okay.
So far with the story that we're working on and creating, how do you see it progressing to what it's going to be? Is it going to be a graphic novel? Is it going to be a story? Is it going to be what do you think it's going to be? Because my big question is, if you want to do it as a graphic novel, who the hell are you going to get to draw it?
I have no idea. That's a great question, and I've been asking myself the same thing because
I think Todd should draw it with me inking and coloring.
maybe it feels like a graphic novel, but I'm like tempted to keep Zach working on those novels, man, because they're so freaking good.
Can I throw out a suggestion? And I know you're probably gonna turn it down because it probably is 10 times, maybe 20 times harder than doing a graphic novel. But I would love to see it as an animated project.
Oh God, yeah.
And I know that's harder, and I know it's more complicated, and I know that's multiple people working on it and all. But I see it more as a visual moving story, whether it's a TV series, movie, but something animated.
Yeah.
Oh,
I see it. I do see it. I could tell you that I in my head, I do see it looking like Darwin Cook's DC. Oh, come on, the one that they did turn into an animated show.
New Frontier, whatever it was.
New Frontier. Thank you. Like, I in my head it kind of has that kind of animated quality where it's almost like the storyboards of the film. You know what I mean? The storyboards of the thing, because DC's New Frontier is literally shot for shot Darwin Cook's book. right? Just like the Matrix was shot for shot, the storyboards that Steve Scrooge did, and what's his face?
Yeah. Actually, have you seen Super Crooks on Netflix?
No.
It is one of the what's his name? Is it Mark Millar? The Miller verse.
Mhm.
It's one of his comic series, because remember how everything he's doing right now is Netflix has first look of it.
Yeah.
Super Crooks was a limited series that he did.
Yeah, I have a couple of issues.
Yeah, it was Lionel Francis Yu, whatever his name is.
Yep.
But they did it in a manga, an anime style. They actually had like maybe.
Oh, really? They animated it?
Oh yeah, yes, they animated it, and for some reason, every time we're talking about this story, that's what I see is the animation. I see this crazy, wild visual effects, but the down to earth. Check it out. Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was good, and
Yeah, I'm gonna.
it has absolutely nothing to do with Lionel Yule's style at all, but it's the story and the characters and some really great animation.
Neat. I didn't even know this came out.
Yep.
I have to look this
Check
up.
it
Yeah,
out.
I don't want to toss it on screen because it would be.
Yeah.
What-
The opening.
oh,
The opening.
MK says, "What would the cost be for each? Significant."
Yes.
You mean the cost of like
Animated.
animation versus book versus comic, or MK? What do you?
Yeah,
like,
I think that's what he's talking about.
So the novel is the most affordable because it's basically lore games.
You just got to pay Zach.
Yeah, I mean it's lore games, and then it's Zach writing it, and then it's public. If we do an actual physical, you can publish it, but you can do it print on demand, right? Or you can buy it in bulk and lower cost. But there are ways to do. MK says yeah versus each. So it's fairly doable. It's not bad at all. The comic
but you can always write it and then develop it into a graphic novel later or into an animated series later. I mean, you got to have.
You can test. I mean, that's probably the smartest thing to do, to be honest. To like test popularity by the sales of the book, right? If the novel sells well, then you move it into a graphic novel. If the graphic novel comic series does well, you move it into an animated thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like the novel is the most affordable to produce. And I would say because of Zach's specific speed, the fastest. Zach can produce like 3 or 4 books a year if we let him rip. So that's on that side. The graphic novel / comic thing is a factor of 100 in terms of time it takes, because you gotta write the whole script, which takes a couple of months, and then you have to draw the whole thing, which is like a page a day at top speed. And really nobody's doing top speed anymore because the quality nowadays is not where it should be at a page a day. So people tend to spend like 2 or 3 days a page. So you're looking at, like, for a 120 page book, if someone's working full time on it, you're looking at like at least a year to draw. So you're really looking at about a year and a half ish for a book like that to come out, right? So literally after Lore Games, it would take a year and a half of solid work to get the comics and the graphic novel done. There's caveats to that, because I do know of some people who are super quick and also can maintain a quality. So there's a give and take. So we could find, like, I couldn't do it specifically because it would take me 2 years. But we could find somebody who has a style that's a little less detailed and a little more animated, or someone with a fast style. And I know a couple of those people. So we could do that. The cost is higher because you have the author, or you've got the person who wrote the thing. Then you have a penciler, an inker, a colorist, editor, and then the editors, which you have on the
letterer.
Letterer. There's your letterer. So you have a minimum of 5 people plus the production time, and then comics take a lot of work, man. So but it's go ahead. What's that?
And depending on who you're hiring, it's $500 to $1,000 total cost per page to produce.
Yeah, it's not. It's more expensive. So like 120 page book. Yeah, you would expect to pay like probably what like anyway. I mean, honestly, nowadays, like if I got someone decent, probably 30 to 40 grand total, like all in with like everything to produce like a 120 page book.
Now blow them away and tell us how much it would cost to animate an hour-long movie.
Oh shit. Well, so the animation is again even more production time because it's you're not drawing a page, you're drawing
24 frames per second.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Todd froze.
So
Oh dear.
You're freezing up, Todd. You're freezing up.
can you hear me?
He's just thinking about the cost.
Yeah, I know. He's thinking like on a shoestring budget, it could cost a couple of $100,000 per episode.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
We just heard that, but that's it.
We can hear you sometimes. You like, can you hear me? Then you freeze. Can you hear me?
What
Then
the
you
hell's going
freeze.
on?
There you go. Oh, no, never mind.
Your camera's real pixelated too. You're having issues, buddy. Talking money runs himself. Yeah. Poor Todd. Anyway,
the bottom line is doing it as a book is probably the cheapest and the fastest way to do it. Doing it as a graphic novel is going to take longer and cost more, and doing it as an animated project is even going to cost more than that. But I swear to God, it would look awesome as an animated feature. You know,
I would say that depending on the studio, can you hear me? Am I back?
Yes,
I
you're
don't know
back.
what you
You're
did.
back.
Nothing. I did absolutely nothing. I would say that it depends on the animation style you get and the animation studio you get. In case his talking money rugs himself. You hear me? Yeah, I would say that depending on studio and everything, I mean, you could expect to pay anywhere from like 500 to $2,000 a second for animation, depending on what's happening and what the studio is. So yeah, and that's like ballpark, like that's maybe even more. So you're talking, I mean, you're talking millions. You can do it, like it's totally plausible. I mean, there are people that get partnered up, and you can also do. That's why you'll see like a lot of NFT projects are doing like trailers and stuff. The way they end up getting these shows made nowadays is they do the trailer, they pitch it to Netflix, and get funded to do it. Right? They get the venture backing to do the show, right? Because they don't want to pay out of pocket.
yeah.
But it takes a tremendous amount of time.
Well, I think a novel with a bunch of illustrations is something that could probably be done, mid next year, easy.
A novel with illustrations could be done probably by the end of Q1. Sorry, by the end of Q1, because again, Zach, at least if he was the one to write it, like he's already 30,000 words into Blood and Metal. Like he's a machine. He's so good.
Now, have you started working on getting illustrations for that one?
We will. We will.
Are you only going to have illustrations by him?
Would you like to draw? You can draw too.
Oh, well, I was hoping to see some of your illustrations.
Yeah, well, I'm probably going to try it. Yeah, I like trying to do stuff in every book. I'm doing stuff right now for the Origin comic, and then what I would like to do is I actually kind of right now what I'm thinking is that, and don't hold me to it, but what I'd like to do is starting next year, start to do a series. Like I've always been inspired by like books like 8 Ball, right?
Mhm.
Where you have okay, so I know people don't know what the hell that is. So like, so this is 8 Ball, like, right.
Mhm.
So but basically, what 8 Ball, what Chris Ware did, I'm not looking at the style, but basically what he did is like he would have like short stories of his characters. Some stories would be longer, and they would go book.
Ah, we're losing him again.
Breaking up again.
Dude,
Now he's just stuck with that face, like.
why is StreamYard being? Why does it do that?
It's just you
I
too,
still
man.
stuck?
It's just you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody
you're
else is clear. It's just, it's you.
Yeah.
I'm taking lots and lots of snapshots here.
That one face he made.
Am I frozen?
Yes.
Yes, you're frozen.
Let it go, Todd.
Sit back, take a deep breath, stop talking.
Just let it happen.
Let it go. Let it go.
He knows all the words. Todd is lost in the Matrix.
Oh.
Like that.
Well, what I was going to say is that we need to create a story about 4 nerdy fat guys and make it into an actual movie. And we can all play roles.
No.
That's what I'm going to do. My scam baiting movie is going to be me. I'm going to star in it.
Oh, good for you. You do that.
I need somebody to play the bad guy though. Avery, you want to do it? Oh,
No.
you don't look Indian to me, so you might not be able to get away with it. Dusty, take off your glasses. You look Indian.
What?
Oh, dear.
Uh-oh.
I was clocking.
Oh, donut of death.
Oh, Todd, we love you, man. Crazy.
Oh my God, there's 2 of him.
I don't understand. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Am
we
I
can hear you.
here?
We
Yeah,
can hear
yeah.
you,
Oh, hey, what's up, everybody? I have no
You're-
idea what's going on. Like,
you're-
I can hear you guys and see you perfectly fine. So I'm talking, and then everyone starts talking over me, and I'm like, what the hell? And then,
Everybody, this is Todd's twin brother, Tom. He's joining us tonight because Todd's unable
Yeah.
to.
And your camera's pixelated like
is
Dusty's
it
and
still
Andrew's is
pixelated?
clear.
Well, this is right
Yeah.
now. I'm actually running off of my hotspot. I was like, fuck it.
Okay.
I don't know. Something's up with my internet.
Your
Okay.
internet pooped to bed.
It did. But anyway, 8 Ball. So, like, I like how some of the stories run across different issues, and then I love how some of the stories are just like one pagers. You know?
Okay.
So I kind of want to see if we can get like a whole bunch of like shots with like different characters. I don't know.
Sure. Different artists doing different characters. It'd be cool.
Mhm. Yeah, or just like even for me for like trying to stick to a book that can be regular.
Sure.
I don't know.
I'm interested to take a crack at more characters too.
Yeah, your stuff looks so good, man. That Devoid origin comic looks so fucking good.
I definitely want to do more Devoid. Please, everybody, buy the book. Buy 2, buy 3, buy 4.
We want Avery on the book.
Yeah, I want to do more Devoid books, like a lot.
Yeah, they're so good.
I look forward to having physical copies in my store at some point.
That
Yeah.
could happen, maybe.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Oh,
Is that-
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's like when Keanu screams when he's coming out of that, you know?
Todd. I hope you can hear us.
Hi.
He's just
Hi.
praying right now.
I can.
Excellent.
I can see you. I can hear you.
You can see us and hear us? Okay.
He's on this conference call from like 2003.
He's typing. I can see and hear you. All right. Well, I guess
here?
what we're gonna. Yeah, now you're here. Okay,
Hey,
good.
God damn it.
If I swear to God, if you freeze up again, I'm taking control.
Yeah.
I got some peeps around here somewhere.
This is what happens when you try that.
We'll make it happen.
Like, is this a sign from God that we should just end it?
This is what happens when you try one of those free AOL discs. And
Oh God.
It's okay. I will cut the feed if it turns into Andrew eating peeps.
thank you. It's pretty horrific.
See, now you got me looking around the room and see what I got here.
I do not want to watch you eat.
I think I got some cinnamon Pop-Tarts.
His
Hey, everybody.
14.4 modem called. He's offering an upgrade.
You still can't see me. Can you?
Yes,
You
yes.
see
now
you
you're
here.
here.
We're just ignoring you.
Oh!
I can't tell because I've been talking because I can see and hear you in real time. I'm getting in but not out. It's the most annoying thing ever. Should we just end this? Is this what God is telling us to do tonight? Like, just end it?
Maybe.
It's either the
He
God of
farts
the
again.
It's either God
I'm
or the
not
devil,
farting.
one or the other.
Oh. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
God. Okay.
Everything is good.
Everybody, I love you. Thank you for coming tonight. This is
To
a
the Can You
sign
Hear
from
Me
the
show.
above. We're gonna chill out in the green room for a minute. Love you, everybody. Thank you for showing up tonight.
My
I don't know
guys.
what the heck is going on. So anyway, love you. Peace out, everyone. Have a good weekend. Have a good Friday. Happy.
Hey, and join me on my Misfit Corner comic or Misfit Corner Scams channel tomorrow night at 8:00 for our scam channel live stream. Usually
Yes.
it's just me and
You can
Avery.
just find it on YouTube, right? If you
Yeah.
search on YouTube,
What?
you can find it on YouTube if you just search on YouTube for it.
Yeah. Misfit Corner Scams. Not Misfit
it.
Corner Comics, Scams.
Cool. Let's do it. All right. Misfit Corner Scams tomorrow night. Goodbye.
Papa, can you hear me?